If Billy can clap for us. Just one big clap in front of your face. Lovely.
Would have got him, wouldn't it?
Was there thinking this is never going to happen, basically, in terms of that major?
Oh yeah.
You try not to get too hung up on that, is it?
No, I mean, I don't really get hung up on that. Obviously, I've had a lovely career where you know, been involved in 15 Ryder Cups and won 45 golf tournaments with different players and good tournaments, you know. Money list, Lee Westwood, #1 in the world. You've done a lot of things, but guess what? You just feel as though it's not complete because guess what? You never won a major with anybody, and I found that a bit sad. But listen, when you get to 50, 70 years old and you're thinking you might retire at 60, say, there's only like 12 majors left. You're not going to win one, are you? No, you're not. God bless you, Fitz. Yeah. All them bad moments, you know, Clarke at True and Clarke at Lytham, West at Turnberry, Thomas in the bunker, all that were just like, it was flying out of my head for that brief 3 or 4 seconds that you finally realise your dream. It's just like, thank God for that. It was just relief, just a feeling of utter relief, no excitement. I was from a pretty humble background, so my summer holidays were in a caravan in a farmer's field, you know, with sheep underneath, keeping out of the rain, you know, and birds waking you up, tap dancing on the roof. That was my dream holiday, like, you know. So, and my dad started following round the Open Championship, and the first one we went to was 1975, and I've been to every Open Championship since 1975, so that's 48, 49 Opens, whatever it is, and it's a lot. And I've caddied in every one for 34, 35 years. That's where it started, you know, so we started following the Open Championship around, and you'd be running after Tom Watson and Seve Ballesteros, and, you know, who to think 8 years after starting my caddying career, I'd end up caddying for my boyhood hero, you know, so that's where it started. And in 1983, a friend of mine said, let's go to Spain on a 6 weeks holiday and caddy down there at the Spanish Open, Portuguese Open, etc., which we did. And at the end of that little few weeks, a guy called Hugh Baiocchi from South Africa asked me if I'd come back and work for him full time in 1983. So I was apprentice joiner in Keighley with my dad on 20 quid a week, getting sacked 3 times a week, making cups of tea and sweeping up chipping. So I thought, well, why not give it a go, like, you know. Here we are, 41 years later, just still doing it. Madhouse.
In those days, any time you took on a new caddy, it was going to be a bit of a risk. I soon discovered with Billy that he knew his business, and he was very determined to be successful at it and help me as much as he could. Maybe he thought it was a risk initially. It very soon became obvious to me that this was no risk at all. He had taken the risk taking me on rather than me taking him on. Tony Johnston, who is a Zimbabwean golf professional, a really good player, now a very good commentator, he came to me and said there was this kid, Billy Foster, looking for a bag. Would I be prepared to take him on the following year? And I was thinking, well, I'm going to see this pale-faced kid. He's coming out of winter with this funky Yorkshire accent. I don't know how we're going to get on. But he was just absolutely great. I mean, he was the best, I would say the best caddy that I've had worked with. Hey, Billy, remember me? I'm Hugh Baiocchi.
I remember you.
You worked for me many, many years back, and you've had great success. I really do congratulate you. I feel really happy for you. I claim just a small modicum of credit for starting you off on the right path.
You can claim it all, you
truly, you've done really well. You've had an amazing career, and as I say, I'm really delighted for you, as is our whole family. I don't know whether you recall meeting me at the lodge at Torrey Pines at one of the PGA Tour events. You were working for Sergio at the time, and you came through the elevator, the lift doors, and you came across and said, "Hello, boss." And I'm not sure how Sergey felt about the exchange, because I don't know whether he knew that you'd work for me, but it made me feel really good. So congratulations and well done.
Special.
I'm getting emotional myself,
Oh,
never
yeah.
mind Billy.
So am I, you old git. Wow, that's so special. And I won't be here if it weren't for him. Thanks, Hughie. Respect.
Do you have any specific memories of your time with Hugh back then? Did you want a minute? Sorry.
No, I'm fine. I'm fine. Listen, I mean, I owe Hugh Baiocchi everything. You know, like I said, I was in Portugal working for Tony Johnson, who played a practice round with Hugh Baiocchi, and Hughie just came up to me and just said, you know, Billy, I'm looking for a caddy for next season. And, you know, I like your attitude as a caddy. Would you like to give it a go? And it was like, wow. It's like, well, yeah, like I said, you know, I'm back to Keighley in a dark, dingy workshop with no windows, sweeping chippings up and going outside in the winter to get warm when it was -5 outside tells you it all. And it's like, well, I'm going to be carrying a golf bag out in the sunshine. Why not? You've got to give it a go, like. He'd had a chance to win the USPGA 4 weeks previous, so he was in good form. You know, it was his first genuine chance to win a major. And he probably learned a couple of lessons that day, moving forwards. Didn't have to wait long until the US Open, no matter of 3 or 4 weeks. And obviously he won the amateur championship, the US Amateur there, 2013, so he had good vibes about the place. He was in good form. Yes, obviously he thought he would probably played well, he might have been contention, but listen, you got McIlroys and Rams and Dustin Johnsons and the likes. I mean, it's unbelievable players, like, and everything has to align to beat these fellas, you know. And yeah, you don't expect to win, but you think, well, if you can get in the Shea Cup, it'd be nice, you know. And the rest's history. Didn't play much golf as a kid. I went fishing all the time, and I started getting a better player in my late teens, early 20s, but by that stage I was on tour already. But the main goal was just to travel, see a bit of Europe, and work with some of the best players in the world and learn a few bits to make your own game a bit better. I had a plan for maybe a season, 2 seasons maximum, then escape, because there was no money in the game whatsoever. You know, given the choice of being a caddy or a toilet cleaner, it was a toss-up, you know, because in fact you make more money as a toilet cleaner because you were guaranteed a wage. You know, there was no credit cards, no sat-nav, no mobile phones, no internet, no range balls, no yardage books. You were sleeping on trains. You know, I slept in a bush one night, hitchhiking in France on the side of a motorway. It was a tough existence, like. When Hughie sort of like disappeared, Brand Jr. was a feisty character, let's say. And he fell out with a few caddies along the way. And listen, when you, back then in them days, you could caddy for Hugh Baiocchi, miss the cut, and then get another job for the weekend, because guess what, there weren't a lot of caddies, you couldn't make any money. So I think I'd missed the cut with Hughie, and Brand Jr. was looking for a caddy for the weekend, and I caddied for Gordon, got with him really well, and I found myself in between weeks when Hugh wasn't playing. Junior had said to me, Billy, can you work for me in Barcelona? So I said, yeah, okay, go on. So I'd fill in, and I did a couple of tournaments in 1984, a couple of tournaments in 1985. And then Gordon's job came available, and Hughie was winding down a little bit, really. And Brand Jr. was an up-and-coming prospect, and yeah, I took the job in mid to late 1986, and Gordon went on to win a couple of tournaments in 1987 and made his Ryder Cup debut at Muirfield Village, the first time Europe won on American soil at the Ryder Cup. Muirfield Village, it's the first time I'd ever flown to America. I'll never forget, we arrived on the bus, and it's a great feeling because you're in a team environment, you know, it's golf with a football mentality or football crowd for sure. I remember driving through the golf course, and I'm looking down going, what are all these little greens everywhere? You know, I felt like little chipping greens everywhere. And I realised that there were tees, there were the teeing ground. It was like different league. You just knew, being in Europe all your life, you'd actually Now I got somewhere to America where everything was just pristine, like pristine, yeah. Muirfield was a great experience. It was a charged atmosphere, but it's grown as an animal more and more so over the years, you know, especially Seve got it all going really, getting them all fired up, nastiness and definite hatred, them against us, Europe against America. Slightly disappointing for me because as Seve held the winning putt on the 17th green on Sunday to win the Ryder Cup, everybody's dancing on the green for like 15 minutes. And Brand Jr. stood at the top of the hill in the 17th fairway, one up on Al Sutton, and it's like we had to finish the match, and we couldn't join in the celebration. We just stood in the fairway like that for like 15 or 20 minutes before he could finish his match. You're a band of brothers out there. Everybody's doing the same job. There's 100 caddies do exactly the same job as me, so you can't get above your station. You've got to remain grounded and humble and try and mix and match with people. And you know, you've got a lot of good friends out there, so as soon as you start thinking you're something better than you are, then you'll end up being very unpopular. So you obviously feel at home and comfortable because you work with guys for 4 or 5 years and you know a lot of people. So yeah, you're comfortable in the environment, but as far as thinking you're a great caddy, that's never ends the equation, because guess what makes a great caddy? A great golfer. And if you ain't got a great golfer, you ain't going to be a good caddy, are you? So don't get ahead of yourself and just say the right things at the right time. And caddies say too much these days for me and get in the way too much. Just keep it simple, say what you got to say and get out. You know, so get the pin in, finish the tournament, still have a job and go for a beer with the boys. That's it. You never let your emotions run away with you. I just felt completely calm, no nerves, just try to focus. Maybe just taking an extra couple of seconds. Maybe that might be just a bit of difference from the PGA way. Maybe I just rushed a couple of shots and maybe just thought through it just that little bit more, but just keep him calm. Don't say too much. Less is more for me. I think certain caddies say too much these days and state the obvious they don't need to. I'll hardly ever mention where the wind is unless I have to, because the golf ball don't move anymore. Keep quiet. That's your target. Hit it. And just keep it simple and have a few jokes, you know. I can't tell you what's out there sometimes, but you know, the good, the bad and the ugly. But I try and keep it light-hearted and jovial and say a few funny things, and you have to be serious for that few seconds. You have to be serious, but no changes. It's just another week in the office, isn't it, really? So things happen, you know. It might be just a case of every shot you're never in between shots. You know, it's like, is it an 8 or 9 iron? I'm not sure. It could be an 8, little 9, big 8. You know, sometimes you just drop on your numbers. Right, it's 142, it's just a perfect wedge. It's 157, it's just a perfect 9 iron. He had one of those days that you need that little bit of luck, that the yardage just drop for you. Somebody misses a putt. You don't have to necessarily play bad to lose, you know. Somebody just does that one thing that steals it off you. I decided in 1990 to retire from caddying. I caddied for 8 years and you still couldn't make decent money. Maybe making 3,000 or 4,000 quid, maybe. So it still wasn't a great idea to be a caddy. And I got offered a job at Ilkley Golf Club as an assistant professional golfer. So John Hammond, who was the pro at Ilkley Golf Club, said, right, Billy, you can start at the end of the season, which was going to be like October, November-ish. I went to caddy at the German Masters in Stuttgart, caddying for Brand Jnr still. Told Gordon, I'm retiring at the end of the year, you got 6 weeks to find another caddy for next year, you know. Yeah, no problem. And we were drawn with Seve Ballesteros and David Fearty. So we're going down the second hole, I can hear these spikes catching me up, and as I sort of like turn, there's Seve Ballesteros on my shoulder. And he's like, hey Billy, what are you doing next season, eh? I said, I'm retiring, mate. I've had enough of caddying now. I can't make any money at it, so I'm knocking it on the head, you know. Oh, well, I'm looking for a caddy for next season, eh? My brother, he's finished, so I'm looking for a caddy for next season. I went, oh, all right. And I walked off. I mean, like, and a whole later, I'm just thinking, what have you just done there? I mean, basically, Seve Ballesteros has just come up to you and said, he's looking for a caddy. All you've got to do is, oh, I'm interested. and I might have got the job. That's what I'm thinking. Now my head's spinning. But I didn't have the guts to say anything to the Grand Senor, as I called him, so I carried on. Now I went home that night, and I'm like, you're some plonker, you are. Like, your boy had heard us more or less put it on a platter for you to say, Billy, I'm looking for a caddy, do you want the job? And I hadn't even given him an answer. So I've jumped out of bed, knowing Seve Ballesteros is off early the next morning. So I've gone up to the golf course, I've wrote my name and address on a piece of paper, stuffed it in my pocket, and gone to find him. And I've missed him by 5 minutes, he's already teed off. So I ran up the first hole, waited at the side of the green, and as he came off, I gave him the piece of paper. I said, here, if you want to bring me out of retirement, you know where I am. Vale, gracias, Dios. Off I went. And sure enough, about 2 weeks later, I got a letter. A letter, who'd have thought it? Dear Billy, I've been watching you for a while. I like your attitude as a caddy. All pleasantries. And then next 2 paragraphs, now these are my conditions. You can't do this, you can't do that. It's all, no arguing on the golf course. It's always good to talk after the round. You can't talk to the press, can't do this, can't do that. You must do your own yardages. I feel like I've been in a boxing ring and I've no longer read a letter, like, you know, but yep, humbled you straight out of blocks, knew who the boss was. And yeah, but I must say, obviously very nervous the first time you meet him, because this is now the idol of the game. You've been chosen. 95% of the time I absolutely loved him, 5% of the time I wanted to headbutt him. He was an impossible, stubborn Latin son of my as they used to call it. But absolutely loved him, I like my big brother, you know, and we had a great time together. I must say I got the last dregs out of Seve's career, you know, he was only 33 I think when I started working for him, probably 38 when I finished with him. And in that time it was like a Clint Eastwood movie, you know, it was the good, the bad and the ugly. And ugly was proper ugly. It was like, give it here, you know, you carry it, let me have a go, and I can't play. But when he was great, he was unbeatable. It breaks your heart, because guess what? You're working for the Tiger Woods of his generation. This is Seve Ballesteros, an absolute idol, legend of the game. Your boyhood hero, and I'd have to say the last 2 or 3 months were absolute torture. You know, I was in a straitjacket. He was going a bit crazy, I think. It came to a finish at the Masters. We're playing a practice round with Jimenez and Elazabal. Seve's on the first tee, and he had this putter with a carbon shaft, which had a bit of a kink. Anyway, he said, Billy, pass me the towel. Eh? So I'm passing the towel. He starts rubbing the shaft of the putter to try and warm it up so he can bend it a little bit. So now he's on his knees on the first tee at Augusta, warming the shaft up, and he's rubbing it, and it snaps, breaks in half, and he falls, face plants, grassing his teeth on the first tee at Augusta. Well, I've set off screaming, laughing at him. Jose's laughing at me, and with tears coming down my eyes. Oh, you think it's funny, oh son of my and the horns have come out, the red eyes, the devil's come out. He's like, oh, he's killing me now, roasting me. And let me tell you, Seve absolutely destroyed me for the next 16 holes. Oh, you still think it's funny? I go, son of my bitch, still think it's funny. It's the Masters, I got my putter, I'm going mentally. 17th hole, Seve's got whatever he had, 175 yards, whatever it was, and he's going to 7-iron. I'm saying, no, it's a 6-iron, 7-iron, no, it's a 6-iron. So, and he believes me, it's a 6-iron. To this day, to me, it was still the right club, but he's literally just off the back of the green, chipping straight back up the hill. He's only got like a 15, 18 foot from the hole. Easy little chip, straight back uphill. Seve Ballesteros, you're going to chip it in. He chips it 5 foot past. And you just know as a caddy, your boss is never going to get you out of jail. You know he's going to miss it. Please, I'm on my hands and knees. It's like, please, hold it, please, hold it. Ooh. Misses it, walks off. He's absolutely torn me a new one. Walking off the green, he gives me it again. Walking through the crowd to the 18th tee, again. Now, blood's coming out my ears, the volcano's building. I thought, if he gives me it again on this tee, I'm going to lose it. Sure enough, we get to the tee. Why, I listen to it, why, never a 6-iron, always a 7-iron. And I just screamed my lungs, they could hear me at the clubhouse. I effing heard you, all right. I'm gone, and he's gone. Played the last hole. Storms off, and his brother comes up to me and says, Seve wants to see you on the range. I'm like, yeah. Now I'm in a straitjacket, I'm shaking with anger. I said, I just need 5 minutes with you. And we went to the side of the clubhouse, and it was just like, the 5 years of frustration or stuff that you'd taken, it all got repeated back at him, like, and I just called him every pig to a dog, swearing, shouting, screaming at him, told him exactly what I thought of him. And funnily enough, I didn't last another week after that. I actually finished the tournament with him, and I'll never forget, I was dragging my suitcase down the steps into my little terrace house in Harden. And as I opened the door, the phone ringing. Picked up the phone. Hello? Hello, it's Joe Collette, Seve's manager. Billy, Seve says, you know, you're done, you're finished, you don't want you anymore. I went, all right, Joe, thanks, mate, yeah. You shed a little tear, don't you? I mean, you never want it to finish that way. But Seve's race was run, I knew it. 37, 38 years old, he was not the player he was. And sure enough, 6, 7 weeks later, he wanted me to come back, you know, but I'd moved on with Darren Clarke, who was a 25-year-old, good, up-and-coming, young, hungry golfer, and I thought, no, this lad's going to be really good, so I moved on. Yeah, I miss Seve, he was an absolute legend of the sport, but yeah. Like I said, Clint Eastwood movie, the good, the bad and the ugly, and it was ugly in the end, but there was a lot of good too. It was weird really, because we had a practice round at the start of the week and Fitz hit driver up 18. When I'd walked the course the day before, and I was like, I like it widest bit of the fairway, which were like 280 yards. Because you went past that, the bunkers came in, the rough came in, it got narrower. I like 3-wood. Fitz like driver. So after we finished the practice round, I've never done this before, I said, right, let's go back to the tee. Hit 6 tee shots, 3 3-woods and 3 drivers, and let's see how you feel. Because I was adamant, I like 3-wood. 3 drivers, 3 3-woods. He hit 1 driver perfect, the other 2 were in the on the right. 3-woods, missed the fairway right, hit 1 in the fairway, missed 1 in the semi-rough left. So there was nothing really stood out to him. He said, still like driver. It's my best club in the bag. I went, all right. I said, right, so when we get here, on Thursday, I don't want any of this umming and ahhing. We should have done this, we could have done that, we should have hit driver, we should have hit 3-wood. No, you're adamant, you want to hit driver, end of, no discussion. Want 1 thought process, 100% committed, that's what you're doing. Yeah, 1 hit driver. I went, all right, I won't mention the 3 when we get on the tee then. First round, second round, third round, driver, driver, driver. 2 bogeys and a par. So walking off the 17th green on Sunday, walking to the 18th tee, I thought, I've seen this movie too many times. I am not going to watch it happen again. And walked to the tee. I went, it's a 3-wood. And there were no arguing from me. I said, all right, 3-wood. I said, widest bit of the fairway, Matt. That's your line. Just commit to your target. No problem, Matt. Stands up, it's a 3-wood. Hooks it in the bunker left. I'm like, why didn't you just shut up? Why didn't you just shut up and let him bomb a driver in the right where they can get home in 2? Not bad. Yeah, obviously I finished with Seve and the word went out that I'd split, and Darren Clarke's name was mentioned by a mutual friend, so I said, yeah, I'd be interested. So I met Darren and started caddying for him at Mount Juliet, 1995. My first impressions was, yeah, what an amazing ball striker. You could have put him down maybe as a slightly underachiever. You know, he was going to make up for that along the road, and work ethic was great. You know, he'd hit balls until his hands bled, which probably hindered him at some times because he just beat balls and punished himself at times, you know. But a brilliant player, Darren, and he could have won a lot more than he won, in my opinion. We had a little split in the middle, as you do, like, you know, because Clarke, at first I say, is quite an intense character, but very generous fella and good fun to be around. You know, I really enjoyed my time with Darren. I worked for Darren 10 or 11 years. Probably won 15 tournaments with Darren, a lot of good tournaments, a couple of real good chances at the home, which brought me out a little bit as well. You know, I've had a few near misses there, and Clarke had a couple with Darren, but you know, he then obviously went on to play 5 Ryder Cups, I think he played Darren, so which I caddied for him in all of them, I believe, yeah. So a lot of good times with Clarke.
Billy was always firm. Billy had the art, you know, to be a brilliant caddy. You need to know your player inside out. You need to know when to be quiet and when to not say anything, and Billy had that. He was more than just my caddy, he was my confidant, he was my go-to guy. I trusted him implicitly with everything. I've always been known to not have that much patience, but he managed to draw out the most in me. So, you know, I was very fortunate to have Billy for a long time.
His best victory would have been against Tiger Woods in the World Match Play final in 2000. It was a 36-hole final. Darren wiped the floor with him in the morning round and they came in level, and I thought, you missed a golden opportunity to beat the chosen one there, you know. But I went back out in the afternoon and repeated the same punishment and held a couple of putts in the afternoon and beat him 4 and 3, which is a special moment. It was obviously a very traumatic time, terrible circumstance, you know, terrible situation. I thought Clarke is probably going to take the rest of the year off, reassess his life or whatever. Anyway, about a month later I get a phone call and it was Darren. I just want to ask you a question. I said, what is it? He said, Ian Woosham's just phoned me up asking me if I'll accept a wild card to play at the Ryder Cup. What do you think? I think Heather would want you to play. I'm waiting for her, you know, but ultimately the call's yours. If you feel as you can deal with it, you know, maybe you should play, you know. So now this is like 6 weeks after Heather's passed away. Now we're walking to the first tee at the Ryder Cup. You know, and when we get there, the emotions are there. Tiger Woods, Mickelson, all the lads are all hugging him and tears. And yeah, unbelievably emotional. When walking to that first tee, you know, it was, if I still think about it now, I nearly started booing them myself 17 years ago. It still brings airs to me. I was thinking about walking to that first tee because I got there 30 seconds before Darren, maybe a minute before Darren, just a couple of last minute checks, pin sheet, etc., get the bib on. And as I walked onto that first tee, you're getting thousands of people standing up in the grandstand, stamping their feet, and screaming and shouting, ole, 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 because they know Clarke is approaching the tee. I mean, it was a massive thing back at the time, you know, a guy's teeing up at the Ryder Cup, and his wife's just died, like, you know, how's he going to do this? Yeah, I started crying, middle of the first tee. The raw emotion of it all, the atmosphere, it was incredible. I mean, the noise levels were like, oh my God. And I'm looking at Clarke, his eyes were like saucers. He was on another planet, you know, it's like, how are you going to hit this opening tee shot? The expectation of everything that's going on, the atmosphere, the emotion. Fair play to him, he stood up there and bombed it 300 and odd yards down the middle, hit a wedge to 8 foot and hold it for birdie. And he birdied the last hole to win the match. It was such an amazing feeling, such an amazing atmosphere. And then obviously he broke down in tears and I'm hugging him. You know, you can win tournaments or whatever, but I think that'll generally go down as my most special memory ever. It's not about winning tournaments, it's about special memories, and that will be the most special memory to the day I die, I think. Get up there to the bunker and I've just seen the ball under the lip of this island in the middle of the bunker. My heart sank. I thought, oh my God, it's the same movie. It's the same horror film. Now he's going to chop it out, chip it on. Zalatoris is going to knock it on again, that bird, and you've lost. Anyway, the nearer I got to the ball, it was like, hang on a minute. You can maybe just skirt around the left side of this bank and you can see the left edge of the green. So I'd done something I'd never done before, plumb bob the ball in the bunker where the bank is to go left of the bank. I said, right, see that tree, back left of the green with the floodlight on? Yeah. I said, you hit on that, that bank is not in play, and just try and hit on that and just hit a hard cut if you can, like, you know. So he gets in there, and I'm walking away, and Fitz plays that fast, so I'm walking around, I turn down, bang, he's hit it, ball's in the air. As soon as he hit the shot, and I think it's because he had to cut it a bit, he had to hit it with the heel up. And that's why he got it clean. And the ball's in there and you just know, as the ball's in there going, oh, you beautiful thing, you just know. Because it was a perfect number again, good solid 9, and you know he's hit it well. It landed on the green and the crowd erupted. You're like, you little beauty, like, you know.
He's never done this in the 4 years that we've worked together, but I walked past him, he gave me a high five. And, you know, at that moment, obviously, you can tell he's buzzing with what's just happened. He is very calm throughout whatever situation it is. So that kind of told me something that he knew that was a big deal.
Thanks for reminding me about that. It's been 19 years, 10 months, 4 days and 7 hours ago that happened. It'll stay with me forever. It absolutely broke me out. I'll promise you, I thought about it every day for 6 months. It means the world to me, the Open Championship. I've been out to walk the pins that morning. I got to the 16th green and I knew you'd 2 paces right at the hole and it was a graveyard, or you'd half a Kent to the left. So as I got to the tee, I said, Thomas, it's just here, the TV cameraman, back of the green, which was middle of the green, 30 foot left. TV cameraman, nowhere else. Yeah, got it. Yeah, a good shot, but it was leaked it a little bit, straight at the flag. And I promise you, the ball was 20 yards off the club face, and I was screaming, no, no. And sure enough, it caught the slope and down in the bunker. You can see what it means even now, 19 years ago. Left it in, rolled back to his feet. And I start walking across to say something. He's hit it again. Same shot, with a slope, rolled back to his feet. And honestly, I wanted to be physically sick in the middle of the 16th green thinking, he's about to make 10 here. You've lost the Open. He's got the claret jug. He's giving it that. And he's from Denmark. He's got the Lurpak butter. And it slipped, crash, on the 16th green. That's all I can think. I'm like, I don't believe this. I want to start crying. It's like, this is it. You've waited for this moment since you were a 9-year-old boy, and it's getting gate crashed right here. He lost by a shot. Honestly, I thought about it every day for 6 months. And as I'm walking to the car park, all I can hear is Peter Dawson going, and the winner of the gold medal, Ben Curtis. Who's Ben Curtis? We know now, but then we didn't. It's like, oh my God, has that really just happened? And I had to drive 6 hours home, tears in my eyes the whole way, like, yeah. Mad, innit?
When I hit this putt, I was just bothered about the pace. Felt like it was going to turn a lot. Didn't turn, stayed high. Then I'm thinking, okay, well, I've given him a bit of an idea. I go over to see Billy. First thing I said to him was like, Billy, no matter what happens, that's the best round of golf I've ever played. And he was like, yeah, he was well done and everything. And it was kind of, you know, prepare yourself for 3 more holes, you know, prepare yourself for a playoff. I looked over to the right and on the scoreboard was how far his putt was and the make percentage, and I think it was 25%. I doubled that because of the moment. I thought, well, it's 50-50. I'll give him 50% because he putted well that day.
I've probably watched it maybe a dozen times now, and I think next time I watch it, Zalatoris' putt will go in, because it cannot miss. And I'm stood at the side, listening to the crowd. It's getting louder and louder and louder, and you know it's in. And then when it misses, and you're looking there, no, that ball's still above ground. That ball's still above ground. Wow. Yeah, one of those moments that finally something's happened in a major that's gone your way, you know. But how that putt missed, I'll never know. It wasn't an outpouring of how good's that, brilliant, fantastic, love that day, and then it was just like, thank God for that. It was just relief, just a feeling of utter relief. No excitement, till I'd sucked a full bottle of champagne in one locker room. It was a game changer once the chosen one came along. I think everybody should come downstairs in the morning, go in front of the mantelpiece and have a portrait of Tiger Woods and bow to him every morning. Legend. They had a good relationship, Clarke and Tiger, and we were on the practice ground at Akron, Ohio at the Bridgestone Tournament 2005. And Tiger came across, Clarke is hitting balls, here's a chat with him, and he disappears. I'm oblivious, I'm just cleaning the clubs away, I put in the bag. And after about 30 seconds, Clarke turns around and says, "Do you know what that was all about?" I went, "Let me just get my crystal ball out." "No, what?" So Tiger's just come across, he says, "Is it all right if I ask Billy to work for me at the President's Cup?" Because Steve Williams, who was his caddy's wife, was having a baby and needed a stand-in. So he's asked Clarke, "Are you playing that week?" "No." "Can I ask Billy?" "Of course you can." I went, "Really?" So now you're thinking, not only have you now caddy for your boyhood hero, Seve Ballesteros, now you're going to actually get the opportunity to caddy for, in my eyes, the best player that's ever lived. What a massive feather in your cap to say your kids, you actually work for Tiger Woods, you know that? And this is going through my head. He says, "What are you going to do?" I says, "I don't know." And Lee Westwood were hitting balls at 5 yards to the right of Clarke. Says, "Hey Billy, if you don't work for him, I will." And I went, "Good point, Lee, good point, well done." So I walked up to Tiger and said, "Tiger, it'd been an absolute pleasure to work for you." It was an amazing experience to work for him. His manners were impeccable. One thing I did realise, it was so similar, two different generations, but you're talking about two golfers that order that they held, the presence that they held. You know, when they're up their arse on a leaderboard, how things change because it's them. They could dictate tournaments because they are that immense characters. And had that aura around them and the crowd screaming and shouting. Walking through the crowd to the first tee, the first day caddying for Tiger, was, my eardrums were bursting, blood was coming out of me as well. Oh my God. And they're gripping him and pen marks all over him, hats on sideways. And as he walked through, it was like a 50-yard walk to the back of the first tee. And it was just me and him and it was quiet. I'll never forget, I said to him, I said, you know, that's amazing. Let's say it's 15 years since I worked for Seve, or 12 years, whatever it was. And it reminded me so much of them days. And I'll say to you what I said to him. You might be the best golfer that ever plays the game. You might have billions, but I won't swap your lives. And I meant that from the bottom of my heart. And he looked at me and went, "Thanks, Billy, that's why I don't play so much." We were on the same wavelength and we had the same sense of humour. Really enjoyed working for Lee. He actually came to my wedding in 1997, and after about 20 pints, we went up to the 18th tee at Bingley, midnight nearest a pin, and somebody was stood on the green with a torch, and he won it, of course he did. I actually finished second. It's the first time I've hit the green in about 5 years after 20 pints at midnight, so yeah, well done, Westy. Welcome to Billy's Bar. This is it. I did a golf day last August and raised 50-odd thousand quid by auctioning a load of things, the support of the members here to do this project. And obviously when I came off the last green at the US Open, I got interviewed by Sky Sports and they said, "How are you feeling?" I said, "Well, it's just so nice to get that monkey off my back." Actually, it wasn't a monkey, it was a gorilla. On the golf day, I got a surprise presentation from the boys chipped together and Bought me Billy's Gorilla, which he won't sit there for long. I mean, Fitz's golf bag will go on there eventually, but he'll get moved down here to somewhere, but or get a little cage for him or something, I don't know. A little Fitzpatrick's booth here in the corner. They sent that was in the locker room at the country club. It's a nice little place, and it just lights up different emotions that happened that day, you know, and it's a lot of special memories, and it's a little section it's cosy and it's something to be proud of. Got the flag signed personally to the golf club. To Billy, I can't tell you how happy I am to be the one that won the first major with you. What a team we were that day, a day that will long live with us forever. Thank you for all your continued hard work and support. It means so much to me. Matt Fitzpatrick. Bless him. He didn't mean it, really. The bib that I wore working for Tiger Woods in the President's Cup in 2005, along with Billy Clinton, who wanted his picture with me for some reason. The cheque, you don't see them anymore. The cheque from Tiger Woods. You're not getting his bank details, though. And yeah, the picture of working for the great man himself, which it's a lovely piece. It's very special to me. The whole Ryder Cup wall, you know, of special signed flags, special memories of certain instances that have happened over the years. Clarke chipping in against Tiger Woods to win his match. Me being the usual prank in front of the whole team, can't really show what that is, but you know, lots of special memories. Fouled up on a bottle of champagne I've made. Bib that I wore with Seve at the Ryder Cup in the Belfry in 1993. I sit here, a 57-year-old caddy for 41 years, and I still love the job. Obviously, it's getting more difficult, you know, arthritis, and you know, I used to be 6'5" when I started caddying. Look at me now. Yeah, I'm finding it difficult, you know. Fitz a bit first to tell you, Harry Billy is always 30 yards behind, like, you know, that's the way it is. I'm an old Labrador, right? Back legs have gone. I still enjoy it. If somebody said to you, right, you're going to retire now and live the rest of your life in West Yorkshire, I'd be like, no, I don't want to do that. Been on the road since I was 16, that's my life. That's my home, it's my band of brothers out on tour, you know, that's, you know, I've still got my mates here, my family's here, which I love dearly, you know, but I couldn't be here 52 weeks a year, it'd drive me mad, so I still love it, and that's what drives me on. And you know what happened at Brookline last year, you want more of it. Why wouldn't you? I've been very, very fortunate to work for some weird and wonderful characters and have the best seat in the house. You know, it's like the navigator for the rally driver, isn't it? You're up close and personal, and you know, from being out with Arnold Palmers and Jack Nicklaus's and Seve Ballesteros and Nick Faldo's and John Brown's, McIlroy's, Tiger Woods, along the generation you've witnessed 40 years of the very best of the best. And this is a lad sweeping chip-ins in Keighley. He's out there with the best in the world for the last 40 years. It's amazing, really. Very, very lucky. And thoroughly enjoyed it.
Congratulations, Billy. 40 years of trying to keep us madmen sane on the golf course, but you're still the best there is.
Can't believe you've made it this far after all the stories you've told me. Hopefully to many more, and then we can wheel you off in your golden wheelchair.